It is exactly 1 p.m. the 13th day of March 2022. Welcome to the Lunchtime News, the weekly roundup edition with me, Wadulo, Mark Arnold. Without further ado, let's start out with the bulletin. The first story, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, who is also the Commander-in-Chief of the Uganda People's Defense Forces, this week presented a lecture of opportunity to 62 Air Force officers who have completed a Squadron Officers Course Intake number 1 that lasted 28 weeks. The President also commissioned the Air Command and Leadership Training Institute in Nakasongola District and passed out the officers. The President paid tribute to UPDF for the former job well done, when it launched an attack on the ADF rebels in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo on November 30th, 2021. He disclosed that the training of an Air Force pilot takes 35 hours at the rate of $10,000 per hour. President Museveni also noted that Air Force pilots were currently earning 4 million shillings per month and said that this package was not sufficient. He assured them that the pay would be revised upward. The President commended the Army leadership for the good job that they have done. The UPDF Air Force Commander Lieutenant General Charles Lutaya said that Uganda Air Force Academy was launched in 2009. He requested the President for more training slots for the Air Force. The commandant of the institute, Colonel James Muhwezi, saluted President Museveni for establishing the institute.
Now, I'm glad that my people are moving slowly on your remuneration. Because my guidance is that, look here, those Wanyankwere, they have their proverbs. They say, Twingane eturaha marwa.
Government is considering establishing an army university to enable children of soldiers attain free tertiary education. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni says that the university will focus on productive and relevant courses to improve the welfare of the soldiers and their offspring. He was addressing soldiers at the annual Tarehe Sita Thanksgiving service held at Kololo Independence Grounds, where he explained the rise in food prices.
Oh, the blood of Jesus.
It was a powerful sermon held on this chosen day at Kololo Independence Grounds. Deputy Chief of Defense Forces, General Peter Elwelu, did what he loves to do best, praying.
Father, save us and country us from division. And Father, may your love descend upon us. May your love descend.
This was the 11th time the Uganda People's Defense Forces was holding this annual Tarehe Sita Thanksgiving service. Bishop Joshua Were was the keynote speaker and the preacher of the day.
There is the sentiment of tribalism that is rising, and we want this spirit of nationalism and patriotism to be built.
He was concerned that the bravery of the freedom fighters was on the verge of extinction, hence the need for establishment of an archives center in Uganda.
I saw it in Israel when I went there. Young soldiers are taken to the training ground, and they are taken to Masada, where the Jews fought the Romans, and the 900 plus of them died in cold blood. So they are always taken there, and they are given the story, and after that, then they are commissioned as soldiers. You used to do a pre-university training in Kyankwanzi, which we think would really be very, very good to be revived.
President Yoweri Museveni, who had arrived earlier to officiate at the event, bought the idea. He was appreciative of the role that the UPDF is playing in the Democratic Republic of Congo.
We launched the operation on the 30th of November. It's now almost 5 months. Total success. We have demolished the terrorists in that area. And we have lost only 3 soldiers in all this time.
Museveni wants children of soldiers to access free education from primary to university, where only relevant courses will be offered.
Because the courses at Makerere, some of them are women's studies, conflict resolution. Please, we cannot have those courses. Let them stay in those places.
Children of soldiers under their network, Toto Wajeshi as it is dubbed, have welcomed the idea.
Really, when you look at the cosmetology, you can go anywhere around town and get that course, but these are essential courses. Talk of political science, he talked about, talk of law, talk about sciences. He really talked about things that are so beneficial to our world.
It's very good. I really welcome it warmly because it will help our children, the children of soldiers, to at least study and get skills.
And we thank the president for being there for us and for recognizing us as Mtoto wa Jeshi.
As for the increase in the prices of goods, President Museveni has highlighted the reason.
Because of the conflicts in Europe now, between Russia and the other Europeans, some of the things can be produced here locally. Of course, for us, we have our foods here, bananas, cassava, millet. These are the ones I eat myself. I think those will be affected by the cost of fuel, transport from the village. But otherwise, they are plenty. We don't have a shortage there. My only worry are those who eat bread. Me, I don't eat bread because I'm not a European. I eat mogo, I eat kaunga, not kaunga, the akalo. That's what I eat. I eat local. But the price of wheat is going to go up because apparently Russia and Ukraine are the ones who produce a lot of wheat.
The theme for the 11th UPDF Tarehe Sita annual Thanksgiving service was derived from the book of Psalms, chapter 118, verses 17. I shall not die, but I shall live and recount the deeds of the Lord. Henry Okrut, UBC.
In other news, women have been urged to embrace government programs like the Parish Development Model and the Myoga for their economic empowerment. While officiating at the International Women's Day celebrations at Kololo Airstrip, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni said that through the Parish Development Model, they have targeted 100 million per parish for the next financial year.
A big number of women and men converged at Kololo Airstrip to commemorate this year's International Women's Day. President Yoweri Museveni arrived in company of the First Lady and Minister for Education and Sports, Janet Museveni, around 11:30 and inspected the parade comprising of only women soldiers, police and prison service officers. Museveni said women can get economically empowered through commercial agriculture by participating in the Parish Development Model and a Myoga program.
This stimulus of empowering women through economic empowerment. Because once a woman has got her own money, she will no longer be as vulnerable as those who are depending on men for livelihood.
Government plans to increase the money from the current 17 to 100 million shillings per parish. He says that government aims at phasing out peasants.
A middle class society with a skilled class society and phase out the peasants. We want the peasants to disappear. Not by dying, but by ensuring that a peasant does not produce another peasant. Cattle raider in Karamoja should not produce another cattle raider. A cattle raider should produce a farmer.
The Vice President, Jessica Lupo, assured the President that they will take the responsibility and the challenges they come with. First on the agenda of women is economic empowerment through government programs.
I'm here to ask that we require gender equality and women's empowerment. We are not coming to ask that we want to compete with men. No. What we are asking is that give women and girls equal opportunities.
Women have also asked government for strategic support to vulnerable households by coming up with water harvesting programs.
As government rolls out different agro-based initiatives, there is need to equip women who are the minority in the agriculture sector with skills in smart agriculture, value addition, land use of increased productivity, and affordable energy-saving technologies.
Government is looking at making education completely free. It has empowered women in security, promoted health of citizens and infrastructure, like installing piped water in the villages. I'm Navka Farida in Kampala.
In another development, government is to study the independence of the central bank and come up with reforms that will enable other financial institutions to transform into commercial banks. The Vice President, Major Jessica Alupo, says that focus will be on strengthening government and local banks to ensure their existence in remote areas. She was officiating Millennium Sacco 2012 Business Prayer Breakfast in Kampala early this week.
There are many commercial banks, including Centenary, Stanbic, Stanchart, DFCU, and government banks that include Uganda Development Bank, Housing Finance Bank, and Microfinance Support Center Financial Institution, which are not established in especially rural and remote areas like deep in Karamoja. There is need to strengthen government and local banks, although the central bank has stringent measures that hinder financial institutions like SACCOs to transform into banks.
There are dangers of being a bank. It's not simple. It's very strict. Of course, the capital requirements are high, but also the regulatory mechanism is very strict.
The Vice President, retired Major Jessica Lupo, told a business prayer breakfast of Millennium Sacco 2012 that the religious financial institution has provided an opportunity to people in rural areas to save more than before.
Many of them are now saving in our Sacco because before that they did not know, they did not have an avenue which is very accessible to them, which they could use to save their money, but also learn financial literacy on how to invest.
The Mbara-based Millennium Sacco 2012 has 7 branches across the country with savings of up to 6 billion shillings and membership of over 16,000. The patron Millennium Sacco 2012, also Bishop of Ankole Diocese, Right Reverend Dr. Sheldon Fred Mwesigwa, urged government to stop leaving the lucrative money business to foreign banks.
If Uganda is to be truly independent, why don't we promote local banks? Why? Well signed. Is planning to raise the bank reserve amount from 25 billion to 150 billion, which you set aside and then start anew now, 150 billion. Now, how many Ugandan initiatives are going to make banks?
An expert of credit union institutions says the success of a SACCO depends on teaching children to save.
Of building generational wealth. And when I say generational wealth, I mean members teaching their children the value of saving both early and saving often.
Meanwhile, President Yoweri Museveni has donated a double cabin pickup to strengthen monitoring and evaluation of the Millennium Sacco 2012. I'm Nafka Farida and Juman Samba in Kampala.
The Chief Justice Arnold Wadulo this week encouraged inmates in Uganda to embrace the plea bargain program to reduce the period spent in prison. The Chief Justice revealed this at Mbarara Main Prison during the sensitization of prisoners on plea bargain windows of regaining freedom.
Plea bargain is an arrangement between the prosecutor and the defendant. In this arrangement, the defendant pleads guilty to a lesser charge in exchange for a more lenient sentence or an agreement to drop other charges. While speaking at the function, the Chief Justice Arnold Wadulo highlighted the usefulness of plea bargain, saying it saves time and some inmates should embrace it.
Plea bargain is in essence a case backlog reduction intervention. Had we not applied the plea bargain and we had disposed of 2,300 cases, which will not be in this period, we will go I don't know how many years.
Mbarara Main Prison has 16 prisons and it works with, among others, Mbarara Main, Bushenyi Main, and Ntungamo Prison.
So we are grateful for the initiative. We are grateful to judiciary and the partners for coming up with this initiative.
The team has done a commendable job. I hasten to add that I'm looking forward to a time when we shall be able to realize 50% of criminal matters pre-bargained. If we attain this goal, case backlog will be dealt with and delayed trials will be a thing of the past.
Dravili Innocent, the OC of Mbarara Main Prison, informed the Chief Justice that the number of inmates is overwhelming.
The capacity of this prison is 324. So I want to start by mentioning the challenge of congestion.
Our chief guest, we have one of the biggest problems in the Uganda prison service. There is congestion here, mainly in our what we call high security institutions. This problem here is in Lira, it is in Guru, it is in Masindi, Jinja, and Masaka. In all most of these regional prisons, the high security prisons will have high levels of congestion.
National Social Security Fund is seemingly overwhelmed by midterm access savers. This week, a number of savers stand up to demand for what belongs to them, and these were the details. In a bid to increase social protection in Uganda, the new NSSF law now allows government officials, contractors and subcontractors, among other entities, that formerly did not contribute to the fund.
The old law did not allow partners, things like lawyers, things like accountants who are partners in organization, to actually become members of NSSF. Now it allows us that. It incorporated in trustees. There are companies that are incorporated like trustees. Again, they were allowed to register. And the big one is a business registered under any other law for the time being in force, governing the establishment of business entities. So as you can see, whole encompassing, because there are a lot of people, especially those who would work like consultants and that sort of thing.
Under Section 13 of the new law, voluntary contributing companies or persons in the informal sector are now allowed to make top-ups on contributions.
So today you make 5% contribution and your employer puts there 10%. You can now top up on your 5% and say, ask for 10% to be made, and your employer also contributes 10%. So allowing you to top up. Contributing employer who wishes to make a voluntary contribution under Section 1 may authorize his or her employer in writing to deduct an agreed amount for the employee's wage, again allowing you the flexibility to top up.
NSSF has 17 branches, 4 sub-branches, and 23 outreach centers across the country, slightly over 2.1 million contributors. For the last 3 years, NSSF has maintained a 10% average in interest payments to its contributors. However, it is important to note that the one-month compliance has been declining since the 81% peak in 2017-18 to 50% in 2019-2020 due to various factors. Wadulo, Arnold, UBC News, Kampala. Uganda People's Defense Forces medics are conducting medical outreaches for both Congolese communities and the military forces to strengthen the civil-military relations in the operation area. Now, this is a move aimed at drumming up the support for the Operation Shuja joint military operation against the Allied Democratic Forces in North Kivu and Ituri in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo.
Armed conflict in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo have consistently damaged the country's ability to improve its healthcare facilities for years.
We are really helping the people around with most of our common conditions around. We are managing mostly public-related health issues. Yeah.
Uganda People's Defense Forces medics have now embarked on offering free medical services to communities in North Kivu and Ituri area, where it's currently flushing out the Allied Democratic Forces fighters.
As we moved in DRC, we have a big force, so we came basically to give medical attention to our forces, and where there's a community around, the civilians around, we also give them also medical assistance and services we provide. Really lacks health facilities. Most of them have been burnt down, so really we are helping mostly children and mothers.
UPDF medical team treatment of patients in Eastern Congo is meant to cement relationship between the defense forces and Congolese communities.
Tulikuwa hapa nateseka sana juu maneno ya vita, kila siku kukimbia. Omo kwanza sasa gizi mnakuya kwanza tuko bia baya fika tena.
Hali hapa tulisi namona to ya vita vikali sana. Sole ya kona na tunalala ovyo kupori. Sasa sanye wasikari wanafika ndio tunaanzia lala kunyumba.
The medical clinics have brought a smile and joy to the Congolese in areas of Chabi, Brasi and Boga, which currently have no health facilities.
Today we can have around 50 to 60 per day. Those are civilians. Yeah, those are serious cases, but these normal cases, sometimes we go to 80. It's kind of becomes overwhelming. So we try to divide ourselves into 3 teams, that at least to break down, to avoid overcrowding around, as usual for security purposes. Mothers who come for delivery cases, normal deliveries we do, and then in the abnormal ones, usually they move as far as Oicha. Oicha is somewhere a little bit ahead, some good kilometers, around 50 kilometers they go. But normal deliveries, and we handle them there and then. And yeah, we are doing well.
Captain Dr. Daniel Okello says they handle patients with different complications on daily basis. The medical exercise has drawn away reasonable numbers with serious complications. He expressed his profound gratitude to the high turn-up of patients, saying that it is a special moment to see the military off the battleground and offering medical services to Congolese.
Collaboration, the 2 countries, when they come up and they think of putting some health facilities, then I think they can go ahead. But currently, what I'm sure of, which is going to happen within the shortest time, actually this coming week, what I'm sure of are the tents. We are going to put tents, medical tents in all those places.
Haruna Motesasira reporting for UBC News in Congo.
Thank you, Haruna, and that takes us for a short commercial break. We'll be back with more UBC Roundup News.
MBs are now bigger MBs only on MTN. When you load a daily bundle of 250 shillings, you no longer get 15 MBs, you get 30 MBs. For 500 shillings, you no longer get 40 MBs, you get 80 MBs. For 1,000 shillings, it's no longer 100 MBs, it's 180 MBs. Dial *150*10# or use the My MTN app to load bigger daily bundles only on MTN.
MTN is regulated by the Uganda Communications Commission.
Ooh. The thing goes clink, clink, clink. Woo.
Grab an ice-cold bottle of Pepsi Max today and drink to your bold lifestyle. Enjoy maximum taste with no sugar. Now available at a shop near you. Maximum taste, no sugar.
There have always been hard times, but these days are harder than most. Everyone is hurting. Everyone needs help. But some among us are asking the question, what if we didn't have to go through life's hardest moments alone? What if we were in it together? And just by asking that question, he changed my son's life. He created an online crowdfunding platform for Ugandans to help raise money for each other.
Thank you, Nixon, for helping me.
This is a story of a regular Ugandan just like you, who harnessed the power of technology to provide a solution for us. How about you tell us your story? UG needs more of you. To share your story, visit airtel.co.ug/UG needs more of you or call or SMS 162. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Welcome back. You're still watching the UBC Lunchtime News Weekly Roundup edition. To move on, the Allied Democratic Forces fighters have reportedly suffered a heavy blow as the joint military operations by the UPDF and FADA continue to pound them. Recently, the UPDF engaged ADF at Luanoli, Bundiaguya in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. These are the details. For that, but moving on, a section of women activists and well-wishers have continued to lobby for men's support towards total empowerment. This comes during the International Women's Day celebrations.
Women's Day celebrations is not only for dine and wine, but the initiators were reminding the world about the struggle and determination of women.
As a woman, I would be in the forefront celebrating the Women's Day. But when I look back to that woman at home, perhaps the kind of celebration I would expect is that ability to be in the open, to join the rest in the race.
Had it not been the powers of entrusting, of empowering the woman, I think I wouldn't be standing here today. I thank the government of NRM for empowering the girl child and all the avenues that the government has created to ensure that women have also come up to express their full potential.
As part of this year's celebrations, Mbara-based UBC Radio West in Pikahona over the weekend hosted ladies for a 2-hour talk show, literally to share their experiences about the day.
We have come a long way. Women were left behind. The government has tried. Actually, it's best to bring up a woman.
The things that we could not do traditionally, we can do them now. Women can study, women can work, they can be in positions of influence, they can do other things that we thought they are not meant for.
Although many acknowledges that women have accelerated from the bedroom to the dining room, to others, the journey is not yet over.
And we should celebrate our achievements and also look at gaps. There are gaps that we need to close. Like now, one of the gaps is to mentor a boy child, to match the girl child.
But what exactly do women need to please their hearts? This is a question we posed to the panelists.
Because we are too much into the rights issues, we are too much into the equity and quality, but I would expect the woman to be celebrating the achievements that we have had. What have we achieved when we are still battered at home? We have position in leadership, but not everybody is on board. If we are talking of equality, then we should be 50%. Why are we celebrating the 34%?
According to religion, a woman is a product of a man, as God sought for Adam's helper. However, this should not be a foundation of undermining, suppression and suffocation for this gender in our societies.
The women who are high up, should go down to help this rural woman to come up. And it's our role as a government, as leaders, and everybody, even you as media, it is your duty to make sure that the rural woman will understand the power of this day.
World over, it has been categorically stated that if you empower a woman, there is no doubt you have empowered the nation. Robert Onyango, UBC News.
In another related development, as more Ugandan women enroll into the technological space, gender equity and inclusiveness is key to holistic empowerment. Now, a number of women have played a big role in driving the agenda of women inclusivity, and I had a chance to share with some of them. Industry in Uganda and across the world remains male-dominated. One of the main reasons for this status quo is the gender stereotype that it is a masculine profession.
ICT used to be looked at something for, let me say, for men. You could find that ladies were left out in this.
Being a woman in a field that is too much male-dominated is not like very, very easy. But again, since I'm a professional teacher, I learned skills of how I can survive.
Studies show that diversity in companies is important and that the multiple perspectives of a diverse team are key to innovation.
The important thing is both perspectives are important for tech development to be successful. If you have purely a male perspective when you're developing your technology, you're developing your solution, it's going to be skewed because it won't serve humanity, it won't serve the business environment, it won't be competitive because 50% of the users of your technology solution are women.
Damali Sali is currently Uganda's ambassador of the Women's Entrepreneurship Day organization, with a range of expertise including financial services, trade policy, technology, innovation, entrepreneurship, and is the founder of the Ideation Corner.
In 2019, High People conducted a survey in Uganda that showed that women account for less than 10% of the people who make up the teams in technology. And then in 2020, the IMF issued a report that showed that a country or an economy that has equal gender representation in its economic activities has the potential or capacity to grow by an additional 1% in its gross domestic product.
Similarly, Valentine Masicha is a technology entrepreneur that is passionate about impacting Ugandan communities through her organization, Mindset Coders.
When you have a balance of gender roles and the way we think and the way we do stuff, bringing different perspectives together, it's room for growth. And it's also, diversification makes more money because we are now thinking together in a way that affects all genders.
Mindset Coders is working with ICT Teachers Association for technology use in Ugandan schools. This also includes a campaign to steer more women into the profession.
It has been made practical because learners do what they can see.
So now if we have more teachers getting involved in technology, using it in the classrooms, using it to assess, using it to manage the system within the school, then it's a good thing, makes the teachers comfortable, interacting with technology, makes the students more exposed to technology.
Damali and Valentine are among the growing number of women spearheading gender inclusiveness in the technological sector of Ugandans. However, there is still no statistical research on how many professional women are entering the sector. Wadulo Arnold, UBC News. The Secretary General of NRM, Richard Todwong, this week visited Kanungu District. Todwong, who was accompanied by top NRM officials, was received by the Minister for ICT and National Guidance, also the Vice Chairman of the Party for Western Region, Dr. Chris Bariomonsi. These are the details.
Kanungu district in Western Region is affected by region sectarianism that has hindered the party from development. The NRM Secretary General Richard Twodong is in the district to strengthen the party starting at the grassroots.
We fight one another because of religion. That I am a Catholic, I am a Protestant, I am a what?
He called upon leaders to work for the development of the party in the district.
We are thinking because we don't have facilitation, we cannot call for meetings. Yes, represent different parishes and different sub-counties. You look at your sub-counties in relations to the Kanungu district. How do my people relate to the mother district, Kanungu? And how do I present their issues? And how are these issues addressed?
The Minister for ICT and National Guidance, also NRM Vice Chairman, Western Region, informed the NRM Secretary General that Kanungu social dynamics would soon change.
I would rethink the whole mobilization strategy turebe ngo twatekamo amani omukibina ezina lya NRM lyahulibwa.
The chairman NRM Electoral Commission, Dr. Tango Doi, requested religious leaders to support the party for national development.
Religious leaders, we all belong to religion. But when time for politics come, help us and support us and allow us to do our thing. That where we want. We want to make this area a no-go area for NUP and other opposition because
the district was also celebrating NRM Liberation Day at Rushoroza Seed Secondary School in Kihihi Sub-County. I'm Navka Farida and Jen Nyaramugisha.
The Uganda District Education Department, through the District Council, is drafting an ordinance that will enforce all teaching institutions in the district to plant fruit and non-fruit trees in their school compounds. This move is geared at ensuring that learners embrace the need to conserve the environment even when they go back to their respective homes. The ordinance will among others consist of fines and punishments for deviant schools which won't abide by the set rules.
Uganda district is among the many districts in the country that is choking on catastrophes resulting from mass deforestation. The Education Department, through the District Council, is now drafting an ordinance that will force all teaching institutions to plant trees in their school compounds. Uganda District Inspector of Schools, Bakaijaje Benon, says fruit trees should be given priority in school compounds.
And our emphasis, even from the ministry, is that in all school compounds, stakeholders must plant especially fruit trees for learners to act as shades, to provide shade, and also to give fruits to the learners.
Schools being concentrated places for learners, leaders think it will give them an opportunity to grow up knowing the advantage of trees. Planting eucalyptus trees is, however, being discouraged.
Because they consume a lot of water. Other friendly trees are there. If you come to the district, they can give you good species which are friendly. Because when you plant eucalyptus trees, you can't dig, you can't cultivate anything and it grows.
Trees produce fruits, provide shades for learners, and also protect schools' infrastructure from being blown away by the wind. Some of the schools, including Kibubura Girls, have since started on tree planting. Amanya Syria, the headmistress of this school, says 400 trees have so far been planted in their school compound.
And as Kibubura Girls, we planted more than 400 trees around the compound. And therefore, if we have such trees, they can help us in different aspects, like making the school green and also providing shade and all other important aspects like providing rain that would help the environment to keep green.
When we are in schools and our clubs, we have a lot to play as far as making our school green. We have not to destroy the green environment, the flower gardens.
Whereas some organizations, including churches, have managed to donate tree seedlings to schools and local communities, majority are yet to plant them. But once the ordinance is passed, these deviant schools will be fined but also punished for violating the set rules.
But even, for example, the district of Uganda at one time has been supplying these trees, seed trees So they are supplying trees to schools. And I don't see why head teachers are not picking the
My fellow educationists and education institutions, I want to implore you to conserve the environment. Plant trees to save life, plant trees to preserve the nature and the environment.
Students from different schools taking French language as a subject have been encouraged to enroll for the French language competition, which has been launched at Alliance Francaise here in Kampala. The executive director for the organization, Patrice Gillet, this week noted that the competitions will enable French students a competitive advantage in the job market in East Africa with the newly incorporated language in the East African community.
Alliance Francaise Kampala has launched a countrywide competition for French schools from primary to university levels as a way of harnessing opportunities that come along the language.
Here at Alliance Francaise, where we are launching a competition for learners in institutions of learning in Uganda, a competition that has been dubbed as Njogera Français. It is a very exciting competition. I find it creative because it has the local flavor of Luganda, Njogera, and Français. So a combination to mean I speak French. Je parle français in French.
The program, which is dubbed as Njogera Français, will see winners taking home different prizes, with best students winning 1,000 euros, laptops, tablets, while best teachers will have a chance to winning 2 trips to France.
I think that alone will be a great motivation. What we were thinking when we decided to give them money is to give an opportunity for someone maybe to plan for his own or her own trip to a French-speaking country. We know that a lot of people are able to find ways to speak, to listen French, despite the fact that this is an English-speaking country. But we think that what could be even more exciting for them is to have an opportunity to visit a French-speaking country.
The executive director for Alliance Francaise, Patrice Gillet, attests that this will be a great opportunity for the learners and a motivational factor to attract students to the language in schools, most especially now that French has officially been included as an official language for the East African community.
And what do we try to achieve? Well, we try to take into account that there is a dynamic of people learning French in Uganda, and this dynamic corresponds to the dynamic of French language in the region. I read some projections that have it that by 2050 it's going to be the second most widely spoken language in East Africa, behind Amharic, not even Kiswahili.
Teachers from different institutions also attest that the move will enable Ugandan students studying French have an added advantage and competitive in global job market.
Business of these subjects should be scrapped. It shouldn't come to the languages. We ought to go ahead. If we learn from the British system, a British by 11, I told you, knows more than 3 international languages and can work anywhere in the world. Let the government support the languages in schools.
As a student of who has done DELF before, it is a very good and interesting experience. And I would encourage all the students not to fear this. What is important is to have enough vocabulary.
Sadam Mubale, UBC News.
The influence of money in Uganda's politics remains a cause of discomfort in the opposition. Now, just recently, the funds secured to finance activities of political activities under Inter-Party Organization for Dialogue have seemingly caused discomfort among key political players.
About 10 years ago, the Inter-Party Organization for Dialogue was formed to cultivate a fruitful environment for multi-party democracy in Uganda. Ideally, the members who share iPod Roundtable include political parties with representation in parliament.
Uncontrollable violence should be left to animals. Human beings should have dialogue.
Spearheaded by the Netherlands Institute for Multi-Party Democracy, the 2010 founded iPod aims at improving governance, human rights and observance of the rule of law in Uganda, among others.
Dialogue is good because we can compare our visions. The vision of the NRM is very well stated. what is the vision of the others.
Amidst several challenges, some achievements have been realized.
Parties are trained on basic organizational management issues.
President Yoweri Museveni, who also the chairperson of the National Resistance Movement, does not hesitate to share what he describes as the doctrine of NRM to engage in fruitful and constructive talks with his opponents.
But as the Honorable Mao, who is apparently a quiet student of our tactics, reminded me, we always make a distinction between the misleaders and the misled. Unfortunately, people have really neglected dialogue. I don't know why. It's a very big mistake. I even talked to Kony. I didn't want to talk to Kony, but when the people insisted, we said, okay.
Ultimately, as the Uganda People's Congress, I want to see Uganda in a better place. And I'll do everything in my efforts to see that happen.
Despite being a qualified applicant, the Forum for Democratic Change has continued to dodge IPOD engagements.
Because Mr. Museveni, and that's why as FDC we said, we know those meetings with Museveni to hell, we will not come. Because the main subject matter he does not want to discuss.
In 2021, a vibrant young breed under a pressure group maneuvered into the political space in Uganda, attaining the highest number of opposition leaders in parliament after the general elections. The Kamocha-based National Unity Platform Party, led by celebrated musician Chagulanyi Robert Sentamu, also known as Bobby Wine, followed the footsteps of FDC and decided to boycott IPOD.
So if they're saying now they're opening a new chapter, IPOD will be relevant, we wish them well. Discuss whatever you discuss. If it turns out to be good for the country, all of us as a country shall thank you, but don't force anyone to be part of IPOD.
Despite NUP and FDC shunning IPOD, the other 5 political parties having representation in parliament continue to push for the IPOD agenda, including enhancing cooperation and collaboration across party lines by prioritizing Uganda as a nation. Recently, President Yoweri Museveni met with Secretary Generals of the respective political parties to iron out some of their concerns.
Those who don't believe in dialogue, that is their approach. Let's see whether they achieve. Leadership is about talking about the tough problems that we face together. So truly, we miss the FDC when they boycott the summit, yet they attend all the other meetings. And truly, we miss NUP.
In the last IPOD summit in Munyonyo, the leaders used the platform to agitate for an increment funding for political parties as provided by the law under the Political Parties and Organization Act. Parliament did not hesitate, and in its supplementary budget, Schedule number 1 for the financial year 2021-2022, 35 billion shillings was secured to Electoral Commission. However, Parliament, through the adopted majority report of the Budget Committee, indicated that the IPOD funds were for political parties as required under IPOD arrangement. This was also contrary to the letter initially addressed to the Speaker of Parliament by the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, which instead proposed for the funds for political parties. At a later stage, questions arose as how IPOD was incubated into the Budget Committee final report, which was approved to support IPOD.
Money for political parties should have been appropriated under the Political Parties and Organizations Act. Unfortunately, I think, and I want to admit, because I was in Parliament, we made a mistake to include the word IPOD, because it has caused unnecessary confusion. FDC received its share, according to the Political Parties Act. Yes, we did. We received 1.7 billion shilling, because that is our numbers in Parliament.
On reaching out to the Electoral Commission, which received the funds, Paul Bukenya, the spokesperson, distanced Electoral Commission's status from IPOD, saying they disbursed the funds in February this year as mandated by the Political Parties and Organization Act.
IPOD is a matter that we cannot comment about as Electoral Commission because we do not manage that program. It is another arrangement that exists between willing parties which have representation in Parliament. But on our part, our task And our job is to make sure that those parties that have representation in Parliament are funded, and when their money comes, we pass it on to them.
When were the last funds disbursed?
The last time that we sent out money to political parties was in February this year.
Leaders under IPOD during the meeting of President Museveni and Secretary Generals presented the accountability of how funds were shared. President Yoweri Museveni proposed further that political party which acts contrary to the IPOD cause should have a budget cut.
Because they can bring arguments that although we are not in IPOD, give us our share. They may, legally, if you don't capture it in the law. Because the idea is, although you have differences, but please work for stability. And how do you come to stability? By sharing some common positions in a forum. And the only forum is this one.
Norbert Mao, the DP president, is at the epitome of alleging that the funds pocketed by the political parties were instead of the arrangement of IPOD. This has since seen Mao in a daily attack through his Twitter account describing National Unity Platform as hypocrites.
I have been provoked. It was never my intention really to engage in this battle. So it is a provocation that has led to this timing.
There is no money for IPOD we've ever received because we don't belong to IPOD. Okay?
So our interest is that political parties follow the law, and the platform for resolving issues is the National Consultative Forums, where actually all parties are represented.
So the Electoral Commission has not done its work, rendering the National Consultative Forum useless.
The influence of money in politics is beyond reasonable doubt becoming a distressing new reality in the shared democracy of Uganda. Most political players have linked taxpayers' money to individuals in a bid to win the hearts of the electorate.
I think those are hypocrites. If every money from government is Museveni money, then all those in parliament who earn salaries should be saying no to that money.
But this is taxpayers' money. I pay taxes. You think my money that they deduct from my salary is Museveni's money? Each Ugandan surrenders part of his money to run the country called Uganda. It is not government, it is not Museveni's money, it is taxpayers' money.
It is unpredictable to tell as to when the infights in the opposition in Uganda will aid in producing positive results to respective political agenda.
So these are the things I'm talking about, and Ugandans should know. Have you seen them disputing what I'm saying? They keep on saying Mao is a pumpkin, that Mao is paid by Museveni. That one now has no currency. They can say whatever they want about me.
Currently, 26 political parties are registered with the Electoral Commission, 7 of them having representatives in Parliament. The political parties with no representation in Parliament do not in any way receive funding from government.
So the fight that you see is a normal one. In fact, if there was no fight, then we would not have political parties.
Daniel Mugoya, Gloria Gwitabinji, UBC News.
It's time to teach. Schools are open. In these days of COVID-19, teachers are not only giving knowledge, but protecting themselves and their students from the virus. As a teacher, you must ensure that students follow the set SOPs of always maintaining a distance of 2 meters from others in classrooms, dormitories, entertainment halls, school vans and playgrounds, wearing a washed and clean mask every day that covers their mouths and noses, and regularly washing their hands with soap and water. In addition to that, you must counsel students about stigma related to COVID-19 and discourage them from violence. Any violence against students from classmates, teachers or parents should be reported immediately to a school administrator or senior woman or man teacher for correction and further guidance. Ensuring everyone's safety is key, so make sure students are out of class by the official closing time. Let's share knowledge, not COVID-19. This message is supported by the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education and Sports, and UNICEF. Stay safe.
Start the year off with My Airtel 4G smartphone. You get to enjoy free 1 GB data valid for a month and 100% bonus data every month for 3 months at only 250,000 Uganda shillings. This includes free data spread over 3 months worth 86,500 Uganda shillings, making the effective price of the 4G phone 163,500 Uganda shillings only. Visit the nearest Airtel shop and get one today. Airtel, the smartphone network. Start the year off with My Airtel 4G smartphone. You get to enjoy free 1 GB data valid for a month and 100% bonus data every month for 3 months at only 250,000 Uganda shillings. This includes free data spread over 3 months worth 86,500 Uganda shillings, making the effective price of the 4G phone 163,500 Uganda shillings only. Visit the nearest Airtel shop and get one today. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Welcome back. Bank of Uganda is strategizing to expand the capital markets investment by coming up with reforms of incentivizing local investors. The Deputy Governor Bank of Uganda, Michael Atingi-Ego, disclosed this while releasing the African Financial Capital Market Index of 2021, where Uganda was ranked 5th among the 23 African countries.
I'm very excited.
Government of Uganda prioritized technology advancement as a fundamental pillar to implement the National Development Plan 3, and the need for reliable internet infrastructure has been upheld.
Contribution that fintechs across the different sectors are making on the National Development Plan, especially in promoting financial inclusion, building local innovations, attracting investment.
The report by Financial Technology Service Providers Association indicates an appreciation of financial technologies in sectors of banking operations, digital lending and microcredit, payments and digital wallets.
So new markets are evolving. There's the regular markets like the Uganda economy, but there's upcoming markets that we're not tapping into, like the regions, the DRC, the South Sudans. We're going in and we're doing trade, but how many fintechs are actually thinking of going in those markets?
Limited capital to support new financial technologies and uncoordinated regulations are affecting the operations of financial technologies.
There's demand. It's just we need to understand why we're not attracting as much funding as we can for capital.
Central Bank believes financial technological evolution has transformed service delivery, enriching customer expectations.
Let's establish a dedicated fintech office in the National Payment Systems Department to champion this cause, and we will continue to play our roles variously, and of course, including the following: promoting infrastructure development and interoperability, including a national switch to support affordable retail payments, advocating with government and MNOs the increased broadband internet and telephone coverage, especially in rural areas.
Government intends to leverage on the Financial Payment System Act of 2020 to oversee the smart operations of these financial technologies to ensure public trust. Abdul Nasir Lubwama for UBC.
And that brings us to the end of our weekly roundup edition. With me, Wadulo Mark Arnold. We're broadcasting live from Nile Avenue. Please do care to replay this bulletin on YouTube under the name tag UBC TV Uganda. From the team, we must wish you a lovely Sunday afternoon.